tool sets for this year. These were both marked down drastically here for Black Friday, so we got them at quite a discount here. And so today we're going to show you all about both of these tool sets here. So you have here the Craftsman 216-piece Mechanics Tool Set here, and over here you have the DeWalt 173-piece tool set from Costco. So which one of these was better? Well, we don't know. They're two different types of beasts here when you think about it. But in today's video here, we're going to give you a nice open boxing on both of these. We're going to open them up and analyze them. We're going to point out to you what we like and what we don't like about each of these two Mechanics tool sets here. And it all starts right now. Hey everybody, Jeff here, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, hey, we give you all sorts of world-class remodeling tips, you know, remodeling your kitchens, your bathrooms, how to tile floors, how to do wood floors, how to repair all sorts of really bad emergencies and engineering disasters around your house here. And we also do shop with me's, and we do tool reviews. In today's tool review here, we are going to compare these two tools. But if you haven't subscribed to us, hey, make sure you click on that subscribe button down below there. And when you do that, make sure you click on that little tiny gray bell icon next to it. That way you'll be alerted to every time we upload a new video. Otherwise, you'll never even know it when we upload one, because you don't want to miss one of our videos. Okay, so this right here is the DeWalt DWMT 41019 172-piece tool set. This is from Costco. Now, Costco got these in around June of this year, and that's when we first reported it to you. We showed them to you, and they were $99. And of course, every week that I went in, I went to see if they were going to drop in price, because usually things drop in price within a month of landing in the stores at Costco, and we've always warned you about that. And so it didn't drop, it didn't drop, it didn't drop for after month, and finally on Black Friday, for the week of Black Friday, they dropped the price 20 bucks from $99.99 down to $79.99. So of course, we pounced on that deal and picked it up here, okay? And then this one over here, so this one here is the Craftsman CMMT 99206, the 216-piece set here. So this one we bought at Lowe's here. And the interesting thing about this one is everybody was following this for weeks leading up to Black Friday when it was $149 on the shelf. And then all of a sudden, come Black Friday, I go in there to do my Black Friday live stream there at 7 a.m. And lo and behold, we noticed they dropped it 50 bucks down to $99. Suddenly, that made this a steal. Everybody started pouncing on this one. Okay, now those of you who follow my live streams, and when you see me go into Costco, you know that way back in June of this year at Father's Day, we showed you this incredible doorbuster at Costco here for Father's Day, where they had almost this kit from DeWalt. It was a 181 piece. It was really cool. All the pieces were black. Look at this whole thing here. This is 50 bucks. This is a DeWalt set, and it's got everything you need. It's got all of the wrenches. It's got the socket drivers. It's got Allen wrenches here. It's got all your little mini bits here. It's got more Allen wrenches over here, as if that wasn't enough. You got 3 different ratchet sizes here. So my guess is it's a 1/4 inch, 3/8, and a 1/2 inch drive. And a big screwdriver here to handle all of these different bits, interchangeable there. And of course, deep sockets here. And then a bunch of regular sockets all the way around here. So this is a 181-piece black chrome Mechanics tool set for $49.97, 50 bucks. And this is the size of the box. Man, stand by the ton. This is, if you can you see the whole thing here? So this is how big it is here. This to me is one heck of a steal right here. So if you're looking for an idea for Dad for Father's Day, that is sitting there showing you the sign, the pricing and everything, and I'm waving it, you know, showing it to you. And this is where I made the shopping blunder of the century, folks. Everybody has days in their life where they do something really stupid and they buy the wrong thing, or there's buyer's remorse afterwards. Well, in this case, there was no buyer's remorse because I never bought it. That's where my remorse came in, because stupid me did not put that case in my shopping cart, and I should have right there on the spot when I saw that that was a stellar deal after showing to you guys what a stellar deal it was, and stupid me didn't buy it. And so because of that, I figured, oh, I'll come back in next week. Well, I came back in a week later and the whole pallet was gone. I missed out. That's why I have buyer's remorse. That's why I'm still upset over buying this one when I could have had the other one with more pieces for $49.99. Okay, so let's slide it out of the old cardboard casing here, clamshell. All right, now, first of all, big, huge yellow DeWalt letters here on the front. This is a real thick, tough plastic case. And I like the metal hinges here. I can't stand it when tool manufacturers give you those plastic cases that have the plastic snaps on them. They're cheap. These are much more reliable here. And then we should have like the choir that sings when it opens up and big bright lights from heaven come out. I like it comes with this protective mat here. So the DeWalt toolkit here weighs in at 21 pounds, 4.2 ounces. All right, so we're going to measure it here now. And let's see. We have 19 inches across. And the width here appears to be about 3 1/4 inches. And let's see what we got for height. The height is about 14.5 inches. So let me give you the quick tour of what we got here in the set. It's very nicely laid out here, very even. Okay, so in the center here is the multi-driver here. And let's see, let's get this guy out here. And this is the socket for him right here. See, so you plug the socket in there, and then you can use any of these bits here. Stick the bit all the way in there. And he's in there reasonably tight. So that's good, and it comes out, there's a little bit of resistance, but that's good. You don't want it dropping out either. So you have to give it a little tug with your fingers, but it comes out without too much effort. These are your 3 ratchets here. So what's great about this set, and this is my criteria, this was my criteria all along before I bought a new socket set, was that whatever set that I buy is going to have a 1/2 inch ratchet, it's going to have a 3/8 inch ratchet, and it's going to have a 1/4 inch ratchet. That way I don't ever have to worry about messing with all these different size connectors and adapters and everything. I'll be able to just do what I need to do no matter what. So here we are. Let's pull them out and take a look here. This feels solid and weighty. This is fairly heavy too. So 72 teeth in their ratchets here. And it feels like 72, yeah. It's reasonably smooth. It's middle of the road. Most people prefer, most of your mechanics might prefer 90 teeth or even 120. Okay, so of course these are laid out very logically. So all of your SAE sockets are on this side. All of your metric sockets are along this side here. And what they did over here was all the way up to here, these 2, 4, 6, 7 sockets right here are all 1/2 inch drive here. So all the way over to here. So they start at 7/16 and they go a half, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, and 1 inch. This is a 1 inch socket right here. Yeah, it's a 3/8. So it's really only 6 sockets that are 1/2 inch drive. So all of these sockets from here down to right here are 3/8 inch drive, okay? So they are, of course, 1 inch, 13/16, 3/4, 11/16, 5/8, 9/16, 1/2, 7/16, 3/8, 5/16, 1/4, and that's it for the 3/8 inch drive. So this little guy, believe it or not, has a 3/8 inch drive on it. And then they start the 1/4 inch drives right here. And this starts at 9/16 and goes down. It goes to a half, 7/16, 3/8. This one here is 11/32, 5/16, 9/32, 1/4, 7/32, 3/16, and 5/32 at the very teeny tiny end. Now on the upper perimeter here of the bottom section, this here is a spark plug socket here, 5/8, typical size. The only thing is here's the reason why I don't like this. And I've told people about this a million times in the past. And over on our carbuyingtips.com channel here on YouTube, we have a video on how to change your spark plugs. And in cars like Mercedes or any other cars where your spark plug is going to be vertical, this type of spark plug socket is virtually useless because you really need something that's magnetic. So that's why I have this other one here. I'll probably swap them out in the kit here. I'll probably put this magnetic one here. Okay, so here is the magnetic one here. And what I like about this here, here's a spark plug. Let me show you what it does. It's a real strong magnet. I mean, you can feel it, see? Upside down here, shake it around and it doesn't fall out. And you really got to give it a little tug to make it pop out of there and lose that grip. That's why you want a magnetic spark plug socket. You don't ever want to deal with a standard spark plug socket there. So I'll put a link to this down in the description. They're only a few dollars, but it's well worth the money spent. Because let me tell you, when you're undoing your spark plugs and you can't get them to come up, that's a big problem. Okay, so here's the ratchet here for the DeWalt set, right? And so the way the socket works on here, there's no push button, there's no push button for the release like there is on the Craftsman set. Okay, so the way this works is it just has that same little friction ball there, and it's all done by friction here. So you just snap it on like that. Okay, so to insert the socket, you just put it on there and it snaps into place, see, like that. So there you have it. And since there's no release button to loosen it, you just give it a good tug. It's all done by friction. And it's a good tight hole, so you have to put a little oomph into it, and because that's your friction point right there. Okay, so here is the DeWalt Tool Set's 1/2 inch ratchet here, and it weighs in at 1 pound 4 ounces approximately. Okay, now that we've done the SAE side, now we have the metric side over here, and it's arranged very similar, where all of the sockets along the top here are going to be 1/2 inch ratchets here. So all the way over to here, and then here they start to drop down to the 3/8 inch, all the way down to around, that's still 3/8, that's 3/8, that's 3/8. Right around here you start to hit. Okay, now moving up here into the lid, this is the upper section here. Here, you don't have to mess around with all of these other sockets like the ones I've got, all of these adapters in my other kit, just simply because certain sockets require a certain ratchet or, ratchet size. It doesn't matter because you have all 3 ratchet sizes here. Okay, so now here are the whole lower half of that lid here has your box wrenches here. And again, it's logically laid out, SAE on the left and metric on the right. So for the SAE sizes, we have 5/8 here. We have 9/16, 1/2, 7/16, 5/8, and lastly, but not leastly, we have 5/16. And then on the metric side here, we start here, we have the larger size goes up here. It's 17 millimeters, 15 millimeters, 14, 13, 12, and 10. So they skip 11 millimeters on here. Now, the one thing I don't like about these wrenches already is this. Okay, so without a doubt, these are gorgeous wrenches, just beautifully polished, and I love the logo on there. Okay, but what do you see wrong with this wrench? You guys see anything wrong there? Take a look at this end of the wrench here. See, the problem with this wrench, it's a 12 point instead of a 6 point. So I was hoping they would have given us some 6 point wrenches, and I'll tell you why. 6 point wrenches are better than 12 point wrenches, particularly when you have a nut that just doesn't want to budge. And when you have a really stuck nut that you have to put a lot of elbow grease into, unfortunately 12 point wrenches will round off the corners on you and start to strip the nut, whereas a 6 point wrench here is a lot better for you because it will just perfectly snug around the side of that thing and it's not likely to round off the corners. So that was just a little disappointed that we didn't see any in this one. I know there was some kits at Lowe's that did have 6 point wrenches. Okay, so now let me just show you this close-up. So even though this is a 12 point wrench, so DeWalt is telling us that this is part of their direct torque technology. And if you look really close, you notice how these are not like sharp-edged 12 points there? You'll see curves going around the ring there. And apparently that's what allows it to make better contact with the sides of the fastener or the nut that you're trying to loosen, so that it won't slip as much. And their sockets have the same technology. Okay, so let me just show you here, like on this socket, and it might be a little difficult to see, but if you look at the corners there, the corners sort of have these grooves. So instead of corners, the corner of the nut will fit in there and it will sort of lock in place in those grooves there. And that's what helps give it a better grip at the corners rather than stripping and rounding off the corners. So time will tell if that really works when we have to get busy on a really stuck nut. Okay, now moving our attention here to the center of the upper cover here. This is where you have all of the Torx bits, and I love these because look at this. So you have, these are 3/8 inch drive on all of them here. And what's great about it is you have a great selection of sizes, especially T10 is a hard one to find in sets. You don't always find a set that has a T10. So that's good to have that. So you have T10 here, T15, 20, 25, 30, 40, and 45. So they skipped 35. So these are the 7 Torx bits that we have here. Now up here on the metric side here, you have some hex sockets here of different sizes. So you have 11 millimeters, 10 millimeters, 8, 6, and 5 millimeters here. So what's cool about this is you can either put this in your impact driver if you wanted to, or you can stick it here on the multi-tool here. So you take it here, put the multi-tool socket on there, and then you would take whichever one of these you want and stick it in there. And now you can drive a nut by hand. See, so that's how that would work. So another way you can handle this too is with the 1/4 inch ratchet here, using that same socket. And then you just take the bit and stick it in there like that. You can see here for the SAE side here, we have 2, 4, 6, 7 of these sockets here that you could use here. So that smallest Allen wrench there is all the way down to 3/64. The largest one on the left here on the front row there is all the way up to 9/64. Now you open up the door here to reveal the second row here, the yellow, and you can see we start all the way at 7/64 on the right hand side, and we end up at 5/16 on the left. Now taking a look at the metric side here of the Allen wrenches here, you can see the front row here starts off at 1.5 and works its way all the way up to 4.5. Okay, so we open up the door there and we can see it starts off at 1.5 on the right and goes all the way up to 7. Okay, so there's our description of all the tools that are in this particular set here. This DeWalt tool set here comes with a lifetime warranty, hassle-free replacement. So to close up shop, all we do is close the lid down and set the latches. Make sure you set those latches, folks, because I'm sure each and every one of us at some point accidentally dumped out our socket sets. Okay, so now we're going to do a 5-foot drop test here on this DeWalt Mechanics Tool Set. And we're going to see if it pops open. We want to make sure that none of the parts in there or the tools travel at all or come loose from their resting place. Okay, so here's our DeWalt case after the drop, and let's see if there's any damage. The only thing I see is this little dent right here. The other corner did not get any dents. Of course, the thing didn't roll. It kind of just landed on the one corner here. Okay, so let's open it up and see if there's any pieces traveled in here. So as we open up, the lid looks okay. So nothing came off of the lid, which is good. And let's lift up the mat here and see what we see down below here. So it looks like everything was fine. This large socket here, it looks like it just moved a little bit. It came out of it, but it stayed pretty much where it was. Same with this socket over here. This is actually supposed to be snapped in, so I don't know if I had that snapped back in before we ran the test. And then just this one little socket right over here, it looks like he came up a little bit and canted, but he didn't leave. So that's good. So far, it looks like the DeWalt Mechanics Tool Set here really passes the 5-foot drop test pretty good. Okay, now this Craftsman 216-piece Mechanics Tool Set, it also has SAE and metric, and it has the 1/4-inch drive and the 3/8-inch drive and the 1/2-inch drive ratchets as well. And as you know, this particular Craftsman set here is part of the Versa stack. So you can stack and lock all of your components for security and portability. It makes them easier, kind of like the Milwaukee Packout system or the DeWalt Tough system as well. The Craftsman Mechanics Tool Set here is also made in Taiwan. Okay, so the Craftsman tool set is significantly heavier. It comes in at 29 pounds, 8.3 ounces. All right, so now we're going to measure the Craftsman here. I guess we'll have to measure it up along the top here like this. So the Craftsman comes in at 17 inches wide. And it measures 11 inches deep. And now for the height, comes in at 7 inches tall. Okay, so here's the Craftsman set here, and right off the bat, one of the things that I like on this is it also has a full lifetime warranty, much like the DeWalt Mechanics Tool Set that we've showed you. And so when you pull off the cardboard cover here, you can see here what I like about this is because it's also part of the Versa stack system. One of the benefits is that there's these little compartments here that are engraved into the lid here, and you can store screws and parts and stuff in here while you're doing your work. So you can pull the drawers out, and whatever parts you're working with can just rest right up top. That's a cool feature here. These two right here are the latches for the Versa stack system. So you can stack other items on top of this. Remember, this folds down. You can stack other items on top of this, and this in turn will stack and latch onto other items in the Versa stack system. Okay, now to open the individual drawers, there's a latch on either side. You see how this pushes in there? It's a kind of a plastic springy latch. You push it on both sides with your fingers, and then the drawer slides right out. Okay, so there's the top drawer. Let's see how the middle drawer does. Push in, and middle drawer slides out. It gets a little binded up there, see? Kind of gets a little jammed up there. Not too bad, but it's kind of annoying when I see stuff like that. And let's do the third drawer now, the 1/2-inch drives. They put the heaviest one on the bottom, which makes sense because it is heavy. Holy cow, is this heavy. And look at the size of this ratchet here, this 1/2-inch ratchet. Okay, now here's one thing I like about this Craftsman set here, is that the drawers do come out so you can take them with you. So you could leave this is your mothership, you could leave the mothership on your bench in the garage and maybe take this out to your car if you need to and set it on a workstation. Or you can set it up top here like that. Okay, so let's examine the layout. Let's see what we've got. One of the things I like about each of the drawers is that they each have their own label on there indicating which drive ratchet is in there. and what the basic tools are. And I like how this one here indicates that this is the drawer that houses the spark plug socket. Okay, so here everything is nicely laid out, and I love the way everything is so spaced out here too. Looks a lot more neatly organized that way. And they give you a nice long extender here, 2 extenders actually there. So what's really nice here is look at the size of the engraved values here that show you how big your sockets are here, the indicators. So these are big. These are probably over 1/4 inch size letters here, maybe even closer to 3/8 inch size. But they're large, they're very easy to read. These are much easier to read than the DeWalt tool set. Now along the top here you have a nice array of SAE deep well sockets, and you have an array of metric deep well sockets. So again, they're all laid out pretty nicely. Of course, all of the sockets over here are stored vertically. Okay, so nothing in here latches in place. So the ratchet here, it just sits right here, and the extenders sit right here. Up along the top here, you have your nice little elbow socket here, your little elbow joint. This is a 13/16 socket here. This here's your spark plug socket. Okay, with the drawer number 1 done, let's pull out drawer number 2, see what we got inside there. So here in the 1/4 inch drawer, you have another beautifully presented drawer here. So you also have the 3-inch and 6-inch extension rods here. And you have your universal joint here at the front here. And an adapter to 3/8. Although I don't know really why you would need it, because you just pull out the 3/8 inch ratchet. So the way they've arranged these sockets here is all of the SAE sockets are from here over. They're all on the left side of the compartment. And from here on over to the right, these are all metrics here. Same thing with the sockets up in here. These are all SAE deep wells here up to this point, and then it picks up here with metric and goes all the way over here. Then you have your 2 different Allen wrench sets here. This one's the metric red, and this one is your SAE right here. Now up here in the upper right, we have 3 11-piece sets, so we have 33 pieces, 33 different bits total here. And you have the magnetic bit holder here. Let's see how magnetic it is. So you pull a bit out here, and yep, you can feel it kind of snap right in. And it gets a good grip on it too, so they're not going to come off. You can't even bang them off. So that's good. Holds them really nicely. And what I like too is much like the DeWalt Mechanics Tool Set. This one starts off at T10 here. It goes up to T40. Then of course over here in the upper left hand section of the drawer here, you can see all of the nut driver bits here. The left side of the group there is the SAE sizes, and the right side of the group of those nut drivers right there are the metric sizes. And likewise, everything is very well engraved on the plastic there on the bottom, so you can see which bit is supposed to go where. Okay, we'll stack that up there. Let's take a look at the 3rd row here. The 1/2 inch drives, the beasts. Okay, so here they just give you the wrenches in a bag, and they just expect you to dump them in there like that. That's what I don't like about this. I think that's a big oversight in design here, because the sets like the DeWalt Mechanics Tool Set, they have them all lined up for you, and they're labeled and everything. Here, you got to go fumbling through them and sorting through, and now you're going to get the metrics mixed up, because I guarantee you if this thing ever drops on the ground, these are going to travel across from here to there. So that's already a really significant design flaw in my opinion. I can't believe that they would do such a lazy design like that. And you know, there's some guys out there that are very particular about their tools, and if these aren't like clipped into place or something like that, they're going to be mad. They're going to be like, well, I don't know, this might be a deal breaker for me. And you know what else? With these things sitting like this and get bounced around on the truck, these are going to get scuffed up. They're going to get really scuffed up against each other. And it's a shame, because these are beautiful tools. Nice and polished. Here's your 1/2 inch driver here. And you flip over the bottom there and check it out there. Okay, so now looking at the ratchet, and let's see how the mechanism works here. So there is the push button on there, which is good. I like this. It's a good springy action there. and it releases the mechanism so that the ball can push in now that the socket can go onto it, right? So you just push in the button first, and the socket goes in and locks in place, so it's not going to come off. So I really like this mechanism. And then to release the socket, you push in on the button and off it goes. And here's your direction changer here. If you want to tighten or if you want to loosen, you know. And it's got 72 teeth, just like the DeWalt 173 piece set here. And what got me suspicious as to whether they're made in the same factory or not. They're not quite the same shape and everything, and the DeWalt doesn't have the push button. In here you can see that the Craftsman 1/2-inch ratchet here is 1 pound 6.8 ounces, so just about 1 pound 7 ounces. Okay, so now we are going to perform a 5-foot drop test here on this Craftsman Mechanics Tool Set, and we'll see how well it does. We'll see if any drawers pop out or if any of the parts or tools inside there travel from one spot to another. See the Craftsman Mechanics Tool Set here collected up quite a bit of dirt and grass there and all those little edges that it gets caught on. Alright, so let's take a look at drawer number 1, see if anything happened there. It looks pretty good. Everything kind of stayed in place. None of these popped out or moved or traveled, nothing. Just everything stayed there. Let's try the 1/4-inch drawer, drawer number 2. Oops. Yeah, have deep sockets, will travel. So these two here, I'll have to see which order they were in, but it looks like 3 of these here traveled a little bit, and the extender bar here, well, he's fine. He's at the angle there. Everything else in here was okay. You can see here these 2 bit holders here kind of came out of place, but they sort of stayed right where they were. Okay, so we have everything put back, and it looks like drawer number 2 fails the test. So it looks like we had a failure over here with the extender bars, because the way these are supposed to work is the smaller one goes down there like that. The longer one sits on top there. So drawer number 2 failed the test because these 2 extender bars traveled a little bit, and these 3 sockets here, 3 right here, came out of their spot. They didn't go far though, that's the good news. Okay, so now let's look at the 1/2-inch drawer, drawer number 3. And the only thing we can tell on this one is, did any of these travel? Actually, believe it or not, I don't think any of these wrenches traveled because all of the metrics are here and all of the SAE wrenches are here up top. So, nope, I'm wrong. We have one here. So we did have some traveling there of the wrenches. So they got all mixed up and discombobulated there. So drawer number 3 failed the test. So the only other complaint I have here about this Craftsman Mechanics Tool Set here is the drawers are a little bit flimsy, and I think it's because they flex too much. So let's look at the bottom drawer, for example. It's pretty hard to pull it out by itself, right? So you're gonna have to, it's a two-handed job no matter what. It just looks like it's wedged in too tight and too deep, and it's like this ridge, I can see it at eye level here. This ridge bumps into the drawer above it, see? And so that, I think, is part of the problem. And then this button here almost looks like it's not quite touching, but it's just, it's too much effort really for one hand, because you're going to end up pulling it right off of the table, see? So it is a two-handed job to get that drawer in. Now, if the second drawer seems to be fine, you can do it one-handed, no problem, see? And putting it back in, one-handed, no problem. Top drawer, 3/8 inch, one-handed, no problem. So it's just that bottom drawer there. Is that a game changer? Well, for some people it might be. For others, it won't be. It didn't bother me too much. So which of these two tool sets do you think fared the best here? I think they're both pretty much the same, and it really boils down to what you're looking for. So remember the DeWalt set here, the ratchets don't have the release button. Some people require that, others don't, okay? And if you remember the Craftsman set here, the second drawer failed the drop test. There was traveling of parts, even though they didn't really go very far. They stayed pretty much right where they were. But there's that to deal with, and then the drawer here, the bottom drawer here, flexes a little bit, so it might annoy some people. So each tool set always has its own pros and cons, but overall I think these are both pretty adequate. They're both competitive with each other. And of course the Craftsman set here has about another 40 parts or so. It's mostly in a couple of extra wrenches, some extra deep sockets, and it has several extra driver bits, so that's where it makes up for it. But other than that, I'd say they're both in the same class here, and it's pretty hard to make a choice. So that's why initially I bought both of these. I'm very happy with both of these sets here. I think they will both serve me well. I will probably leave this kit here in the garage on the shelf as a home base to serve the home here. And this kit here I'll take with me on the road when I go. I believe this will probably take up less space and fit better in the vehicles and stuff. So anyway, if you're liking this video so far, please give us a thumbs up down below. That lets us know that you like us. And also, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click on that subscribe button down there too. And don't forget, you got to click that little gray bell icon if you want to ever get notified. Otherwise, you'll never know when we upload a video. So anyways, thanks for sticking it out. I know this was a long video, but a lot of testing that had to be done here. We thank each and every one of you for being here today, and we will see you on the next one.